You all remember Monroe Bergdorf, the racist that got fired from L'Oreal for being a racist? Well, the racist is back, and she's been given a platform by the BBC. You know, the same company that defended and protected a paedophile for decades and also forces you to pay a TV licence fee for their dogshit programming that you probably don't even watch. Certainly is reassuring the BBC, one of the biggest media outlets in the whole of the UK, is now actively pushing out anti-white propaganda.
What kind of country is modern Britain?
It's the kind of country where you can get arrested for posting a tweet, get turned down for a job just because you're white, get mown down by the truck of peace, and then get called a racist if you complain about any of that. Fuck modern Britain.
No doubt it's a country that likes to think of itself as inclusive.
Think of itself as inclusive. I guess all the diversity quotas, special public programmes for minorities only, and all the special consideration given to minorities when it comes to welfare and housing simply wasn't enough for you. If all of that still doesn't please you, then it's obvious that you can't be pleased. So I don't see why we should bother trying.
But that depends where you're standing. To me, as a transgender mixed-race person, we live in a deeply racist society.
That's very true. We do live in a very racist society, with diversity quotas that discriminate against white people, hate crime laws that are actually biased in favour of minorities, and also the BBC themselves are now normalising and platforming racists like yourself, Monroe. But don't worry, you can't be racist to white people. It's not like we're human or anything.
The government's race audit for England identified discrimination against people of colour in many of our institutions.
That is extraordinarily interesting, Monroe, because I've actually read the racial disparity audit and it doesn't fucking say that at all. It does show differences in numbers between groups, but that's all it shows. All it shows is data. It doesn't at any point say the reason for this data. I think we should actually have a quick look at some of the data that was actually in the report. The social capital measure was pretty equal overall, but please notice the part that when it comes to feeling that you have any influence over the decisions made in your local area, that white people ranked the lowest. When it comes to the percentage of 5-year-olds reaching a good level of development, white British children actually ranked third. Labour market participation actually shows that white people rank at the very top, but there's many reasons that could be behind that. Maybe it's a difference in culture when it comes to work ethic. Maybe it's being able to actually speak English. Maybe it's just a difference in education or experience. Maybe it is discrimination. But we don't know that. Because all this is data. There are no reasons behind this data yet. That's something you need to research further. But Monroe obviously immediately jumped to its discrimination. Because that suits her fucking narrative. When it comes to average mean hourly gross pay, white people come third. When it comes to actually owning a house instead of renting, British white people come third again. Percentage of homeless households, that purple line up the top, is white people. Fuck me, right? Now there are some areas in the report where minorities are either under or overrepresented in a negative light, so I'll grant you that. But it doesn't say that discrimination is the cause of that. There could be a multitude of reasons behind the data. At this moment we don't know, so it's not safe to just assume that it's discrimination. I advise everyone to actually read this report. I'm going to include a link to it down below. And please do read it, because obviously Monroe fucking didn't.
Ranging from the police.
Very true. Like when the police actually banned white men from attending recruitment workshops.
To the justice system.
True. For example, you can post a racist tweet and have the police completely drop the investigation against you. Unless you're white.
To schools. Does this surprise you?
Nope.
It's old news to me and almost a bad joke to identify it now.
Same.
It's something that we've known for years, but the political will has not been there to deal with it.
Diversity quotas, special consideration when it comes to housing and welfare, hate crime laws that are actually biased against white people. Political will hasn't been there. Go fuck yourself.
And I'm not sure it is now. Why should we expect anything else from a country that's built its success on the enslavement of non-white people?
Fuck your slavery. Just fuck your slavery. The people who actually did slavery are all dead. Slavery was abolished by white people hundreds of years ago, and the people who actually encouraged slavery and profited from it are all fucking dead. They're not around anymore, and I'm not about to be punished for the actions that some people did during a time when I wasn't around and I had no fucking say in it at all. I don't have any white guilt because I didn't do anything in regards to slavery, because I wasn't even around. So see your slavery argument? Roll it up into a little ball and shove it up whatever the fuck you have down there. In all white countries, slavery is illegal. However, 58% of the world's modern slaves are actually in India, Pakistan, China, Uzbekistan and Bangladesh. But I don't hear you saying anything about those places. You really don't seem interested in the slavery that's actually happening now. You're only interested in the slavery that happened hundreds of years ago done by white people, when you weren't even a fucking victim of it, and no one is alive today that actually did it. But when it comes to actual modern day non-white slave owners who still fucking exist and still have slaves, you seem to not be interested, Monroe.
It's that continuous cycle of racism that explains where we are now. Why does the UK acknowledge the sacrifice of people killed in wars, but not the spilled blood of black people?
Apparently black people just don't die in wars. Also, we have monuments all over the UK to celebrate slavery being abolished and also to remember the suffering of the slaves. So stop lying.
If the UK took our oppression seriously, then people like me who call out racism would be listened to, rather than ridiculed or threatened with death.
You're ridiculed because you're a racist, Monroe, and an extremely fucking stupid one. You are ridiculed all the time because you say fucking stupid things. If you want to stop being ridiculed, stop being so fucking stupid.
If white people want to see an improvement for people of colour, they need to understand that racism is not learned, it's inherited.
When white people are born, they're just racist by default. It's just sort of coded into their DNA. It's almost like it's their genetics, you know, they just can't help the way they are. They're just born like that. You might say that they're mentally inferior. Monroe, that is a racist statement. No matter how you fucking dress it up, that is a racist statement. And the fact that the BBC have actually put this video out there is just an example of the massive double standard that the modern media and police have. White people are born racist. Beautiful. Just beautiful. It's so inspiring. KFC and watermelon. But since all white people are so racist and oppressive, isn't it really, really strange that you're able to speak on a white-owned platform to white people, to spout racist things about white people, and tell all the white people how bad they are? And you've been given the power to do that in a white country. That's really, really strange, isn't it?
And either consciously or unconsciously passed down through privilege.
I really wish I had the privilege of being able to be paid by the BBC to be an absolute racist instead of, you know, going to jail over an edgy meme. I would love that job at the BBC. But I'd probably get rejected because I'm white. Must be all that privilege I have.
The uncomfortable truth is that the white race is the most violent and oppressive force of nature on Earth.
The white race is the most violent and oppressive force of nature? I'm flattered. But that's not quite right, is it? If you want to know all about violent and oppressive, as a trans person, why don't you go try living in the Middle East? See how that works out for you.
My worry is that whatever governments do to tinker with institutional racism, it is so ingrained in the fabric of British society that it is too late to do anything about it.
Are you sure there's anything that we can do? Because like you said yourself, we're just born racist. I mean, it's in our blood, it's in our genes from the moment we pop out our mum's vagoo. robe-wearing Klansmen saluting Hitler. I mean, I'm pretty sure that's what you said earlier, so is there really anything that we can do? Maybe there is a solution to the problem that is white people. A final solution. White genocide! Fucking kill white people! Murder crackers, hang white people from trees. All I want for Christmas is white genocide. Monroe, you are a racist, and you seek to fight discrimination with more discrimination, which in the long run will only create more discrimination. People like you are the reason we have the alt-right. You producing absolute bullshit like this only validates every point that they fucking make. I don't believe that anyone is inferior or has any inherent traits because of the colour of their skin. I don't give a fuck what colour you are. I don't give a fuck what sexual orientation you are, or your gender, or any other bullshit like that. I'm going to treat you the way I treat everyone else. Like a cunt. This isn't even me being all noble, like, oh, I don't care about your race or sexual orientation. Like, I genuinely do not fucking care. You cannot imagine how much I do not give a fuck about your race or sexual orientation. You're not fucking special. You're a pile of meat on bones just like the fucking rest of us. Stop trying to act like you should be treated any differently, be it in the positive or the negative. Just shut the fuck up, stop crying, and get on with the rest of your fucking life. What annoys me the most is you blatantly are a racist, but you just refuse to admit that you are. I would actually have a lot more respect for you if you just came out and admitted that you were a racist. But I don't think you'll ever do that, Monroe. Because I don't think you've got the balls.
It's Count Dankula on YouTube. Everybody should subscribe.